Hello, everybody. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I am Orlando Ruiz. I can say my last name. I know how to say my last name. Ruiz. You see, I can roll my R's. Ruiz, baby. Ruiz. There you go. Junior. Welcome to another classic movie review. All right. And by the way, I want to get out of the way real quick. I am aware of I look a little different. I was shaving this morning. Got away from me a little bit, trying to even things out. Accidents happen. My daughter thought it was funny. I didn't think it was very funny, but whatever. It is what it is. But anyway, you know what is funny? The movie that I'm talking about right now that came out back in 1955 from director Billy Wilder, who made some of the greatest films of all time. It's a Wonderful Life, Sunset Boulevard, Double Indemnity, The Lost Weekend, Some Like It Hot. The 7 Year Itch stars Marilyn Monroe and Tom Ewell, who I don't know from anything else. All I've seen him in is this movie, but he does a very good job in the film as the character of Richard Sherman, a guy that's married with a kid whose wife and kid go away for the summer for a couple weeks to the lake to have a good time. And all the while, this guy is at home and there is a beautiful girl staying right above him, house sitting. Throughout the film, Tom Ewell is very physically animated and very energetic, very fun to watch as the character of Richard Sherman, this delusional married guy that has all these fantasies. And he's just learned of this thing where when you get to the 7 year point as a couple, the male has a tendency to allow himself to be led astray, and so now he's kind of having a midlife crisis. And then enter Marilyn Monroe, or someone that rather resembles Marilyn Monroe because she's playing a model. The plot of this movie is very simple. Richard Sherman is outside on his balcony just trying to relax, have a little drink, and reading a little bit, and a tomato plant falls just after he's gotten up, almost kills him, and it turns out that Marilyn Monroe's character was above, accidentally knocked it over. He looks at her, even though she almost practically, you know, just killed him almost. If he hadn't gotten up, he would have been, squished by that damn thing. Yeah, he's like, come on down and have a drink with me. And so she does because she looks like Marilyn Monroe and his wife is away. And so basically the plot is he going to cheat on his wife? Is he ever going to just go for it? And the movie kind of plays with that. The whole time Richard is really acting like he kind of wants to cheat on his wife. At the same time, he keeps being reminded that maybe that's not such a good idea. And so that's where a lot of the comedy comes from, but also you get some great comedy from Marilyn Monroe, who is way better of an actress than I think a lot of people gave her credit for. She wasn't just, a beautiful face to look at and, beautiful body, but she had great comedic timing. Since this movie was directed by Billy Wilder, who was the kind of filmmaker that liked to push the boundaries of his craft every time he stepped behind the camera, there is quite a bit of adult humor and like edgy type humor throughout this movie that I think kind of separates it from a lot of romantic comedies of this era. Apparently, director Billy Wilder regretted even making this film, calling it a nothing picture because he always felt that he should have done more with the characters, which, I think, I can kind of understand from his point of view, but I still think it's an entertaining film. I think it's a fun film, and, it's still a classic. But I get it. As a director, he wanted to do more, but he felt limited by the times. The characters are fun to watch. The dialogue is engaging and entertaining to just listen to. But one thing that I didn't care for when it comes to movies in general, I know that they do this a lot with characters talking out loud, mainly for exposition. But when they do it a lot, like what they do with the Richard Sherman character in this movie, when he does it all throughout the movie, it gets kind of annoying. And after a while, wears thin, actually very quickly wears thin. And so for me, that's one of the one things that, if I could, nix from the movie, I'd just get rid of that kind of thing. I kind of wish that Billy Wilder would have gone with kind of just like a voiceover kind of thing, like an inner monologue or something. The kind of thing they did with Fred McMurray in Double Indemnity, where you just hear, his thoughts and stuff. And so, yeah, if they would have did that, instead of this guy Richard Sherman just talking out loud all throughout the movie, talking about how, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and oh my God, what would Helen think, and just everything, just talking out loud to himself. Like, people don't do that in real life. We don't, just talk to ourselves all the time. I don't know if you guys do. Let me know in the comments. Do you talk to yourself? And have you seen someone, despite all that, and despite not having the most likable main character, although it kind of evens out because you also have Marilyn in there as well? Yeah, it's a very fun and very charming time and very entertaining. There is also a very cool little in meta joke there in the film where they kind of reference Marilyn Monroe herself, and it's a kind of a fourth wall break in a way, but yeah, very ahead of its time, I think, in the way that it's done. The 7 Year Itch from 1955. I give it 3 stars. This is one of those movies that I'm sure is out there somewhere on streaming, but those of you who know me, I'm a hard copy guy. Boom, that's my copy right there on DVD. As you can see there, Marilyn in that classic scene, and you can see Tom Ewell right there looking like the guy from Curious George. But yeah, classic romantic comedy, 1955, in color. Check it out. Thank you all very much for watching this classic movie review. I very much appreciate it. If you're into the classics, if you're into movies, if you're new to the channel, if you like what you see, subscribe. Please don't forget to comment, share, like. It always helps. What's your favorite Marilyn Monroe movie? You want to put that in the comment section. Be my guest. Always fun reading things like that as a movie fan. And just see you on the next classic movie review. Everybody take care of each other. Till next time, peace out. God bless.